Welcome to the shop, everyone. Today on part 14 of this 454 big block build, we're going to be installing the harmonic balancer onto the front of that crank. Now, the damper that I bought is one of those ATI Super Dampers, and I believe I purchased it through Summit Racing. Don't remember the exact cost anymore, but I know it was pretty sure it was a $300 plus part. I know these dampers here, you might ask, why'd you go with the ATI Super Damper? Well, a couple of reasons is, usually on any high-end engine build, you'll usually see these dampers show up. So I figure if the professionals use them, there must be something to it. And you can actually go online and look up like damper failures or damper comparisons on dyno charts, and you can actually see that there's some information out there that these dampers may even make a little bit more horsepower on your engine. So it came with some instructions on how to install it, and I think the factory dampers have about 0.2 of a thousandths interference bit, to where these have 7 to 8, maybe even more than that. So they recommend you measuring it. So let's measure the snout of the crankshaft, get a reading on that, because say the damper's too tight, I'll have to have it honed out to where it'll fit better. So I'm just using a snap gauge, sticking it in there, get me a reading. Let's see what we got here. Now, I'm gonna let you guys know it's twice as hard to try to measure something in front of the camera than when I just measure it myself. So anyways, here are the figures I came up with. I'm showing about 0.7 interference bit, which that falls well within the recommended parameters that they want. So that damper kind of falls in between these two spots there I had highlighted. So anyways, that part's good to go. So now, to get the damper on there, it's going to be a press fit. So I have a damper installation tool. But to keep the engine from rotating, I'm going to put my piston stop in there. And later on, I'm going to use the piston stop so we can find the true top dead center of this engine with the harmonic balancer installed. So in the instructions, they talk about putting anti-seize onto the crank snout, and I went ahead and put a little bit in the damper too. Don't want nothing to galled up with that interference spit being slid on there. And then also, I like putting a little bit of oil on the outside damper too, because of the seal. Don't want it to start up dry. Alright, let's get it over there and see if we can't get it on that engine. Now I'm just going to line up the keyways, and I'll get my installation tool. And so you see that big nut on the end of it, and then there's like a roller bearing in there. It just cuts down on friction. But as I turn it, if I didn't have the piston stop, the engine would just want to rotate as I was forcing it on. So that's why I had the piston stop holding it there. Alright, getting close now. Now usually when you push one on there like that, you'll feel it when it finally tightens up and stops. Yep, so that's it there. So I'm gonna get it back off there. Alright. Have to give me a wrench to pull it off, or to get the installer off. And also, when we get done with this, is with the piston stop, I'm going to use it just like I used it when we degreed the cam in to find top dead center with the harmonic balancer. So let's get the camera and give you guys a look. Alright, looks flush down in there. And there's my pointer that's adjustable. And so we'll use that piston stop there and we'll dial that in so we'll have a true top dead center. Now I also went out and got me a very nice ARP bolt to hold that harmonic balancer on. So usually they'll have instructions in their parts as far as like what they want you to torque their nuts and bolts to and how they want to prep them. So I'm hoping the instructions are behind that little packet of APR grease, I guess you'd call it. I still think that stuff there is cousins to anti-seize because it goes everywhere. All you use it. So here's the instructions. Let's see what they want us to torque that nut to. Alright, so it looks like 110 foot-pounds using the fastener assembly lube. Alright, so let's get that bolt all lubed up. Now that's just the same, you know, I usually squirt it out in that little tray instead of trying to squirt it on the brush. And so I'm going to get it all over the threads and on the seat of the head of the bolt. And then we're ready to install it. Let's get the torque wrench and torque it down, and this will be another handy thing for that piston stop to hold the motor in place to where I can torque it the 110 pounds. Alright, done deal. Alright, so now I need to turn the motor over again, back and forth as I dial in that pointer. And so my crankshaft turner that I made out of an old dampener, I just drilled the holes out a little bit bigger and used an end mill, a 3/4 end mill, to make a place for the bolts where I could bolt it on backwards onto the harmonic balancer. And I guess you could also see where I put a little bit of tape on the front side of it so maybe it wouldn't scrape up or scratch up the harmonic balancer any more than I've already already has a few battle scars on it from being moved around. Try to hold that down a little bit. So anyways, so now I'm just setting the depth of the piston stop to, I don't know, some numbers that are familiar to me. So maybe around 30. Now, all we're doing is we're going 30 degrees on both sides from top dead center, and then we're going to take, you know, we're going to look at where the pointer is, and what we want it to do is see, there's top dead center, so I'm doing 30 degrees on each side of that, and I want to keep moving that pointer back and forth until it stops at the same degrees on both sides. So I just loosen it up and I keep moving it back and forth until it shows the exact same degrees from top dead center from both directions. Then I know without a doubt that that will be my true top dead center for when we're setting the timing on the engine. So it's a little fiddling just to get it where you want it, but I ended up with, I think it was like 28.5 and 28.5. Now, so I know that's our true top dead center. So that part's done. And that pretty much concludes this video. And I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please give us that like, it helps us out a lot. Subscribe if you'd like to. Ring the bell, share it, do all those things. Help us keep doing these videos. And as always, we appreciate you guys so much for watching. Thanks so much. And I hope to see y'all on the next video.